Don't get cocky. Hello puppies. Welcome back. We are carrying on with our brickwork this week. It's Monday morning, just midday, and we've done 4 and a bit courses there. So what we're going to do now is drop our hessian over this. It's really, I mean, it started off with a little bit almost frost this morning, and now it's pretty toasty. So we're going to drop this hessian back over here, mist it, so this can just cook away slowly. We're going to hunt down some shade and work around here, and hopefully get this side all the way up to the window. Remember, this is the one that goes up to the oak post over this side, sill on top of it there, and we'll rack the corner up to height and then back down the other side ready so we can get the other bit done tomorrow. Cock on sight. Don't get cocky. Cocky corner. Bit breezy, so we're covering in between, but let me show you where we got up to, and then we're going to get another mix on, bring some bricks around, hopefully get up to our window today. 4 more courses on this side, then we built up this corner a bit. Now we've worked around and we're going to take this one up, the 3 courses, but we might do 2, and then the final one we can just get right, because that's what the windowsill is going to sit on, and then we'll just carry on round at that. And we should be able to start bringing them all up. We on? Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, it's just over. But
so if we do a little bit of a thinner bed, or skinnier brick.
Yeah, well, what I thought was the windows potentially packed up by that.
Yeah, but our sill sits on the structural sill, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know how you. We need to see the sill, don't we?
Yeah.
Because surely it's going to be packed up to that. Like if the windows...
It's just an L and it's fixed to that block, isn't it? So whether it needs... The fall is pre-formed into it. So it doesn't have to be any higher.
It's not like a solid UPVC sill.
No. I need to look at the drawing again, but...
It's just like a tray. Almost.
It's like a tray with an upstand there and a down turn at the front, and then an upstand folded up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need them ordered already, don't we? Alright, that's it for day 1, second week. We're going to get up to there within half an hour of starting in the morning. Should get all of that done, and then we'll make a decision where we're moving on to next. It kind of makes sense to keep going along the back. However, kind of thinking whilst it's dry, let's do all the stuff below the guttering, or the lack of guttering, because along here we could do any weather almost. And in order to do that, we obviously have 2 bays here which are all glass, so nothing to do there. We've then got an oak post we need to install on a saddle stone, and that's just going to be a way of breaking up the 2 panels, because obviously we've got panel, oak, panel, oak, panel, oak. Kind of made sense to put the post in there as well, and it just is exactly the same as where the steels were. Right, I'm going to wrap things up, collect up the day's coffee mugs, and start all over again in the morning. It's actually really good sunlight to do it, isn't it, in the morning?
No, it's good. It's funny, there's a couple of random bricks that
just
look
that.
like they poke out too much, but
What can you do?
it's all part of it, isn't it? Character.
So interestingly, on the packaging for these bricks, it always says to take a leaf at a time from the side of the pack. I guess that's because the way they stack them, to make sure you get an even mix, you take it slices out of the side, which is a bit kind of counterintuitive, but it just means that I need to leave the back two straps on to make sure that the back half of the pallet stays nice and strong. We've kind of been doing it on a bit of an angle, just to keep it stable. The other thing is, due to the nature of them being, I guess, handmade and maybe old stock, because these ones were already sat in the yard, there's a few damaged bricks in amongst them. Now we need quite a lot of half bricks around windows and doors, so we should be able to use up a fair amount of them, but I imagine between 1 and 2% of them are broken, maybe more. And when I say broken, it's just one break down the middle. So hopefully we can use enough of those. And any that are like this, because these are tumbled around to age them, little bits like that have broke. Well, that's an extreme version, but doesn't really cause too many issues because we can always face it to the back. Right, final course on this south-west bay is that we're up to windowsill height, so the windowsills are pre-formed aluminium powder coated to match the windows. They're going to sit over that. They hang over 30mm, I think, from the face of the front of the brick. So although we're misting it and slowing down the lime, we're still already brushing same day. So we started here today. These might just need to be done this evening. Last half's going in there. And then working back round this way, we've just got one course to finish off at the same height. Which means we can now take off these profiles and see how we're looking and see what I need to point up and tidy up on the corner, because obviously some of that's hidden. I don't think we can avoid that at all unless you're taking them off each day. So because we've gone up tight to it, I'll probably just rake out the corner. We know it's going to match because it's exactly the same batch. and we'll just repoint all of that and brush it in a day or two. All of this is done. So again, yeah, just one, well, we've even put 2 bricks on there. Just come along here, flush with the top, job done. Funny, where it's been against the aluminium, it's preserved it. It hasn't cured as much.
Yeah.
I guess it needs the air, doesn't it? Right, it's that autumny sort of woolly hat and t-shirt weather today. No frost, so hopefully wool's been behaving itself. Let's see how we did overnight, see if it's dried up much, and get it finally brushed before we move on to the next section. Fancy seeing you here. Just roaming.
I've been here all night.
Tending it.
Yeah.
That's everything cleaned up, brushed and ready. What we did at the oak was what we chatted about in the last video, which was going to leave it open. So we just raked out all the lime mortar that was in there, or most of it, which means that as this does its drying and twisting over the next 6 months, it can do that independently. We left the mortar up to the saddle stone because that's in a fixed place, and then we'll come back in and point that up. Now we could use some of that foam that you kind of tuck back in there first, and then the lime mortar. We'll wait and see, but the lime mortar itself is flexible, and you know it's got the ability to move a little bit, so that's be okay. And then this step out, now we can see it all. This step out here, it's probably a little bit more than we initially planned, but what we're going to do is put a fairly decent chamfer on these front corners, and in which case that will kind of just reduce that a little bit, and by the time that is pointed up, it gives about a 25mm, 30mm gap, so, or step. Well, we had a good crack at it. We didn't quite get to the windowsill height. 3 more courses would have done it. But the day ran on. There were quite a lot of cuts in here. Obviously, in an ideal world, you space all your windows and your doors exactly a brick apart, but things didn't work like that in our favour, so we've had 4 bricks to slim down on every course, which is just a bit painful. But I've just made sure that everything's fully filled, and we'll leave that now, and I'll come back and brush it in the morning. I just want to make sure this is covered with hessian. The bricks have really warmed up in the sun, but this end over here we've gone over. Now I'm going to repoint a few little bits on the corner here, just where the profile was sat, but the rest of this is pretty much good to go. We're going to keep misting it. If I've got enough hessian, I'll keep that covered as well. But I don't think we've got too much to worry about frost wise for a few days. So hopefully tomorrow I can get that little bit finished, start setting out all the other areas. We're going to move, we're going to do one more panel at the far end, similar size to today, and then we're going to start going around this way and work clockwise around the building and end up in the corner where we haven't quite got that timber frame up yet. See how many cuts we've had to make. We're finding a hole for all that to go in. So as soon as we get the oak post in place up there, then we've just got nice manageable 4-metre bays to work in. 1, 2 to the corner, and then we'll turn around the corner along to the front door. Once you've got a couple of bricks in, then you need to scoop down the back. Scoop out any extra.
How far, sorry?
Well, there we go, wrapping it up for another day. That is, well, mission complete in some respects. We've got to the back door. There is a small panel around there, which I may or may not do tomorrow. But it's a little bit frustrating that every single panel needs the profiles set up at each end. And when it's just, it does take a lot of time because there's not much to clamp to or anything like that. So it's just a bit fiddly. I will get it done. But the priority after that is to move around on the west side, and that's what Joe and my dad have just laid out bricks for. Now we'll go into the detail of this return in the future. We've got some steel trims to match the windows that are going to sit in here, and that's something that I'll kind of work out the dimensions to get folded to size, and then we'll install those at a later point. But for now it's fine, it's all drying. What I have spotted is that these end bed joints are drying much quicker. Now we're taking the profiles off, and they're actually quite hard to detail because you're seeing three sides. So some of that I'm going to rake out and repoint. But because it's got access to air on three sides, it tends to dry out much quicker. So I'm really paying attention to keeping that damp and covered because they're just a bit fragile at the ends. Now rather than rush on and try and squeeze in another little panel this afternoon, which we never would have managed, we decided to have a 2-hour kind of preparation session for next week. So 2 more packs of bricks down here. This bag of lime mortar and that bag should be enough to do everything we need to reach from this end and barrow around. Stacked out these bricks here ready for that. That might even be too many, I don't know, because it's only a couple of meters. That's now at height, wrapped, or will be wrapped. And I'll just keep misting that this evening. This bit is all looking lovely in the evening sun. Kind of wish that this mortar would remain that colour and just freeze in time, because that is actually what I like, whereas in reality it's going to be a lot lighter. See if I can find a patch around the corner that I haven't misted. Probably how it's going to end up, but you know, it'll all even out. So overall it's all working. Now next week we're along here and we're going to start this this oak post and work round. So we've got the remaining bricks round stacked ready. It's a shame we haven't got a nice smooth path to work from, and then this wall will be returned around a bit like the other end and carry on to the oak post by the front door. And remember, apart from that long run, that long L shape, these bits are quite nice because we've got oak to oak. They're sort of manageable pieces, and you know, at the rate that Tom and I are building, that's kind of a nice section that will probably take a day to do, to get it all brushed out, finished, nice and all sorted. So that's, you know, we can start thinking about it in days. It's not going to take a few more weeks to get us round back where we started. So as I was saying, we were prepping up. So Dad took the trailer down and onto the bottom yard. Remember, we've got the forklift, everything was delivered in the bottom yard, but we can't, the forklift, the old boy can't really get up the hill with a load. So I have to go down, load the trailer, come up, unload the trailer. So we put 2 on a load. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. The interesting thing I've spotted is we've got 119. This is on the batch number. 119, 109, and a 119. So I'm going to call them up 2 more and just see what that means. I wonder whether 119 is 11th of the 9th, because that would tie in with when we said it was being made for us. So that just means that this was made 109, it was just made the day before. As long as the sand is the same batch and everything like that, it should all be fine. But what I'm intentionally going to do is the 2 bags out of the 7 that are 109, we're holding back to last and we'll use on one elevation on their own. It probably won't be any different, but I just want to make sure that we don't change mid-wall. Now, there were quite a few questions in the first bricklaying video, and a bit like all of our videos, sometimes things are filmed a week or so ahead of time if we're organised enough, and therefore we might have either filmed the answers before we've posted the very first video, if that makes sense. So therefore people were asking a couple of things. Anyway, one question was on the brick vents, or weep vents. So you've got 2 things. One is to get moisture out of the wall if there was ever water build up in the cavity. You obviously don't want it sat in the cavity, especially with the timber frame construction. So where you would end up with, if it was really bad, you'd end up with water filling up between the internal block leaf and the 4 courses of brick. 3 courses I think we've got before our DPC. So that's almost like a safe channel for water to build up in. So we want water to be able to exit that before it ever got up to our sole plate of the timber frame. Therefore we put vents or trickle holes in the outside leaf. Now they're pretty ugly and they don't really suit a reclaimed brick because they quite often need to be snugged up tight between 2 bricks. However, I've discussed that today with building control because they happen to come out and they're happy because it's not actually in our case that much about the airflow, because we've got loads of air void around the outside of our timber frame already with our cladding and things like that. So they're on about just their main important request is that they've got adequate access for water to exit the cavity, and therefore we'd started using these full height perp vents on the back, and they're pretty ugly and not ideal. So it turns out that he's happy for it to just be the smaller weep vents, or he was actually happy if we were able to leave the end of the cavities clear and have an exit point for water. So that could be behind straddle stones. Therefore, we would not necessarily need the regular plastic naff bits every metre and a 1200 or whatever it is along the base of the wall. So we're going to just see sort of section by section what's best practice. It looks like we've gone beyond what we need to do already, but we might see if, especially along the front here, we can avoid using the little naff plastic things and see if we can incorporate drainage at each end, and that would basically give the same, it would probably give the same ventilation as well, as long as we can mesh screen it. So anyway, that was one of the topics that came up. So we are installing them, and I'll probably see if I can show a bit of that in the next video. Also, expansion joints were brought up. Now, around the whole building, we've not got too many really long runs, and it hasn't been specified by architects or anyone, and I'm not going to do it because we've got a lime mortar. We haven't got much height there. It's only kind of a metre, 1200 up to the top of the wall, and our longest run, or our longest sections runs, are normally split by having full height windows, an oak post or something like that. So there's only one run, which is the length of the building, I think. Yeah, it is, yeah. So that's a long one, it's kind of 20 metres, where it might be worth doing. And I'm going to do a little bit more research. I don't like the look of them, but I think if we're going to have to put one in, that'll be where we'll do it. And we'll, rather than try and point it out with mastic afterwards, see if we can still leave the natural break, tuck in whatever foam's got to be there, and then see if we can point it up with lime mortar. It just looks a bit rubbish when you've got that vertical join, but I'll double check with the architect and building control and just see if it's needed, especially with lime and short walls. Anyway, maybe. Now the bricklaying is going to take us a few weeks, and I imagine the videos will get a little bit boring if we're just showing the same thing again and again. So if there's certain areas or topics around that subject that you want to know more on, let me know, and maybe we can spice the videos up a little bit. And I'm quite excited because theoretically this building could look almost finished in a matter of weeks now. You know, we're all looking at it and it looks like this big blot on the landscape, this big silver box. And really, it's not going to take much to make it a really nice barn conversion, agricultural looking building again. Get that brick in, get the cladding above, and it might even resemble our nice renders that Johnny did last year when we were still dreaming about this all. And really, then we can go into winter with the pressure off, knowing we're completely weather tight outside once the guttering's up. We don't need to think about anything on the external of the building, and we can just put the wood burner on once it's in, and put the radio on and just crack on. We've got stud work. Bizarrely, we've even ordered bathroom stuff this week. So we're going to get a push on. It's going to be fun, and hopefully plenty of videos on the way. So I'm going to have to leave it there. Thank you for watching. Remember, if you can, do it yourself, and we'll see you next time. I just said we need some variety and we need to spice the videos up. So here's your cute little ending to today's video. Nothing to do with brickwork and everything to do with puppies. They've had their afternoon play. It's time to go into the indoor playpen.
Luckily, they seem to have pooed lots out here too. Meet pink and grey.
Oh, hang on, turn around. Ah.
What?
Well, it's better sunshine now. Hello, puppies. Pink and grey.
Yeah,
Grey's got a new home.
Yeah.
She's heading off to Abergavenny for life. You haven't got a home yet, have you, girlie?
Soon.
You've got a home, big girl.
Did you bring in the two feeding trays?
Yeah.